Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Ted, and today I'm hanging out with
Nerdx Steve.
And today we're talking Fast and Dirty Monsters Encounter Design.
Jump down the description below where you can find Nerdarchy, the newsletter, game weekly tips, as well as learn how to game with us, Nerdarchy.
I ran this session this past weekend, and for a while I've been having everything really stay focused on what the party's trying to meet as their goals. And based off of some things that I saw online and some ideas that I had, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to pull you guys off track for a session, protract things out a little bit for the actual campaign goals, and throw a significant challenge encounter at you.
Because you've been having a little problem with little dungeon master impotence of late, where your monsters are getting smacked down and not challenging the party the way you had anticipated.
Indeed.
I think last session you're like, I got them now. This one's going to be tough for them.
New character.
New player.
And it's like, all right, shut them all down. Literally, 80 to 90% of my monsters said, oh, I'm useless now.
So to me, as an outsider looking in as a player, to me it looks like you had gotten a new mini, and you're like, how can I use this in my game and solve these problems? So, what is it, Reaper Bones?
Yeah, it's a Bones mini. It's the giant spider.
It's probably kind of hard to see because of
it's unpainted. It's still just that blank white.
Yeah, it's white, and we have the lighting from the filming going on. So I don't know how well you can see this guy, but he's kind of cool. His only downside is he only does wheelies.
That probably has to do with the
weight and legs.
Well, the leg spread is not the way it's supposed to be. So I think if I play around with the heating up and rebending, I might be able to get them to work properly.
Or end up with a ball of plastic.
Well, you don't heat it up that much.
So we're doing a Fast and Dirty Monster.
So I'm like, all right, how can I make this essentially what would be a huge or colossal creature? A threat to the party, because the huge spider that's in here is a challenge 1. And it's just large. It's a giant spider.
It's not huge.
Like,
what size did you figure out? Like what this
that would be a huge.
That base is as
Here's your 3rd edition size. I mean, we definitely fit on that base, and by current standards, this is as big as they go.
Yes.
In 5th edition.
Very disappointing. I don't know what you're talking about. Sounds perfectly fine for me.
No, I mean, behind Dave's head is the true colossal mini of the red dragon. But
every time we bring up the size of the minis now, it's like a sore spot for me, because I hate the fact that they shrunk all the monsters. Like when I use a dragon in my game, I just blow it up its size, just because I feel like
you can.
Well, you can, but I feel like the sizes that they give. Now he's doing his wheelie. I feel like the sizes that they give in the book are kind of pathetic. Like a dragon should be colossal and magnificent in the magnitude of its size.
It should be scary enough that, again, in the thing that I've got the little knight in his claws.
Yes.
Because it's so big he can just pick you up.
3rd edition monsters, when you put out the minis and they were really the larger sizes classes, like that was intimidating to look at, going, that's my character standing next to this monster? Are you kidding me? He runs away. What else is he going to do? He fits in the mall.
It's like, I'm a snack.
Yes.
Like, I'm sorry, that's just
bite size. It's like you're essentially the fun size of candy bars when it comes to this monster. You probably do not want to hang around.
I decided, all right, well, if I'm going to make this creature that's all it is a spider, what can I pick that I know is going to be a considerable threat? I'm like, all right, it needs to have attacks, it needs to have some mobility. It's going to be underground, so legitimately, what are my options? And I can pull this out because in Dungeons & Dragons, what's more of a threat than dragons? Like,
it's right in the name.
It's there. If you're in a dungeon and there are dragons. I flipped through the dragons and said, all right, what do I feel is going to be most fitting? And when it comes to a spider, their mental stats are not supposed to be significant, but perhaps this spider has been around for a very long time. That's how he's gotten so big. That's how he's gotten so strong. So, of the most animalistic dragons, white was it. So I said, well, a huge white dragon, or an adult white dragon, is huge, and it's evil, and it's got pretty poor mentals. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to correlate it to that. And I don't have to worry about restatting something because everything's here. I didn't have to worry about flight because it was underground. It's not going to fly away. And I didn't do a breath weapon because I didn't feel it would fit.
Right.
Although if I had wanted to, I could have.
You could have just turned it to like webbing or something.
Right. So, what I wound up doing was, like, it still had a bite attack. That thing clearly does. I changed its claws and tails into just the legs smacking into things.
Well, the claws. They're still technically like claws.
Right. But it gave me the power to use the legendary actions that the dragons come with. At least the first time, you guys were like, "Whoa, it's taking attack before its turn." Like, you know, legendary actions are not unheard of in the game, but when they come out, it's pretty impressive.
I actually thought it was using reactions against us.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, wow, you attack it attacks you back, kind of deal. Just the way it happened to work out, and the thing was hitting hard.
Yep. No, I mean, I was using just the straight up damage that was in here. You know, the bite is 2d10. I changed the cold damage for the bite into just straight poison. I felt that was appropriate, for it being a spider. And then it had its claws for 2d6, and when it took its legendary action for its tail attack, I did the 2d8 as just
swiping with the claws,
smacking with the legs, the claws again. I didn't use the frightful presence. I didn't use the cold breath.
I feel like you could have used you could have gotten away with frightful presence on it.
I could have, but you guys didn't have much place to go, and I was trying to keep you in the room so that I could use my AoE spells from the other creatures that I decided to use as well.
Right.
Literally, page 101 of your monster manual has the adult white dragon on it. It's a challenge 13. You guys were 11th level when I what do you call it? When
we had the encounter.
When you had the encounter. And I got some significant damage done by the spider. It lasted a significant amount of time, but only because there were other things there to deal with as well. I mean, there were times where somebody else was, or the party was taking passing swipings at the insignificant creatures that were all over the place that weren't doing much damage.
Yeah, because this monster was wave 1 in multiple waves of enemies.
Right.
I honestly, as a player, as a veteran DM, I had no idea. I would not have done the dragon correlation. Clearly, I know this monster isn't in the monster manual, so I knew you made something up. But it just goes to show, just reskin how effective reskinning a monster was. And had Ted wanted to be even more mean as a DM, he could have incorporated the fearful presence. So it would have made sense for this monster to kind of rear up and be like, ah! Not even the full leg is bigger than any of the PCs in the party.
Well, I mean, your PC
the fangs
is literally right here.
So as you can see, that would be quite intimidating to square off against that thing.
Uthengar, he must have.
Well, kudos, Ted. That was well done.
Literally walks right here.
Yeah, that was well done. I would have never guessed that you were using the stats from the dragon on it. And it just goes to illustrate how easy it is as a dungeon master to take an existing monster, change it. Your players will have no idea what's going on. They will not necessarily know the most effective way to encounter, and at the same time, you technically could have just created a new monster in your game, in your campaign world. So now we have these colossal spiders possibly running around. Perhaps that was the baby. We don't even know, right?
Well, there's plenty of other dragons that can come out,
can be upgraded. The white you didn't even use the ancient white dragon.
That's right. I only used the adult. So it literally is that simple to just completely reskin something that's in the books and remove the things that you don't need, add the things or alter the things that are there that aren't quite appropriate. And the math has been done for you. Yeah, using a spider that's like, wow, this thing had a significant ability to throw off this magical effect because dragons usually have decent saves. maybe this being an ancient creature, it had the wisdom to be able to, shrug off, or maybe it was just the magical effects of the other creatures that were there that bolstered his defenses that you just didn't see.
Or maybe this is what happens when a spider lives near underdark radiation for too long.
So, it doesn't matter how you justify it. And as the DM, just throwing something out there with a different physical description of what's in here, you can get away with all kinds of stuff.
Now, let's go back, 10 years, 15 years. How would you have done this monster?
Oh, I would, if we were playing 3rd edition, I totally would have gone from scratch, and I would have just said, okay, what do I feel is necessary for this?
How long do you think that would have taken?
1 to 3 hours.
Yeah, how long did it take you to do this?
5 minutes to look through the monster manual.
And pick a monster, right? So, guys, try and the point of this series is for you guys to go, what is the best use of my time? Is in creating adventures, and the monster really still only lasts 3 rounds, right? Tops.
3 to 4 tops. I mean, the entire encounter was the longest running encounter that I had put up to date.
Yeah,
and that had 3 waves of combat.
But my point is it really worth 3 hours of your time to create that monster that you may never use again?
You're 100% correct.
5 minutes versus 3 hours, that's a big difference. And then you could spend that time working on other things that are going to be actually more relevant in your game and that are going to come up time and time again. Hopefully you can take from the lesson from this and from Ted and create cool and interesting encounters with fresh and new monsters without doing any of the work. So here you go, your colossal spider of underdark terror. This is so. With that, guys, let us know if this is how you make your monsters. If you do them from scratch, what is your methodology?
What do you think of the adult white dragon / colossal spider?
In the comments below, while you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can hang out with us over on Facebook.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.